Jeanne Ives, the CEO of Breakthrough Ideas, and just a conservative leader in Illinois, talked about her congressional run a little bit on the show before. I talked to her unprecedented amount of votes. I know it was 5 years ago now, but the unprecedented amount of votes she got against incumbent Bruce Rauner back in 2018, when she taught us that we don't need to accept somebody who claims to be a Republican as a Republican simply because the R is next to their name. So thank you so much for joining me, Jeanne. I know we got a lot of talk to everybody about today. But let's start off with simply what's going on with the Republican Party in Illinois from your eyes.
Listen, I'm new to the state central committee, as are the majority of the people. We just took office in August. We are trying to put in some policies and procedures that will really help elevate the Republican brand here, and not even just the brand, but really just help us win elections. That is what it's all about, because the Democrat agenda is terrible. It's absolutely terrible for everybody. And that doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or an independent. What they're doing to this state is inconceivable. And there's so many things to drill down on that. But you talk about what is the state of the Republican Party? Well, it's dismal right now. And I'm going to fully admit that as a state central committeeman. Yeah, we're not doing our job. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of confusion out there as to what we should be doing. So a lot of folks are like, oh, well, you didn't get money for this campaign. You didn't get money for the local elections. That's not our job. Honestly, that is not our job. Our job is not to run individual campaigns. And in fact, when we do that, it gets us in trouble. Our job is to do the bigger things, which is basically highlight the dysfunction and the malfeasance of the Democrat Party in the state, which should be obvious to everybody, but unfortunately it's not. Our job is to build coalitions of people and come together around policy perspectives that are joined, that everybody agrees with. And so we have to build those coalitions. Our job is to actually take on the voting process and make sure the voter rolls are cleaned up and make sure that we're getting our people to the polls as well. So our job is to be doing a lot of that stuff. Our job is also basically to challenge the Democrats when they do things that are unlawful. Like the Republican Party should have actually been the people challenging some of the gun ban law, for example, that I know you had Tom DeVore on.
Mm-hmm.
We should be taking the lead on many of these issues.
Absolutely. Well, I do want to ask a question too, because I understand where you're coming from, that it's not traditionally seen as the state party's job to help out with local elections. But one thing that was kind of frustrating, I know, to some people in local elections in 2020 at the beginning of this year, was that the Democrats poured in, from what I understand, millions, if not billions, into school board races. J.B. Pritzker outright said that they were putting money into school board races, not town council races, not mayoral races, but school board races specifically. And this gets a lot of people scared that the Democrats are coming after our children when it comes to their dangerous gender ideology. When it comes
they already have been. Yeah.
Obviously they already have been. But that they're even going to do it more now, because they claim that, well, these racist and transphobic, homophobic conservatives can't win these school board races. And so they push money to it. Do you see that it could even be a possibility that the Republican Party steps up in any way to help out these school boards? Or is there another way that we can enable localities to help out with that?
Look, so I'm not saying that Republicans shouldn't be involved in local elections. I certainly got my first start on Wheaton City Council, and I was a Republican precinct committeeman, and I engaged my fellow committeemen to help me out win that election. And we should be engaged as precinct committeemen, as a Republican Party at the local level. We should be very much engaged in these local elections. My point is the state party has a particular role, and that is not to funnel hundreds of thousands of dollars that, frankly, the Republican Party doesn't have, to candidates who, quite frankly, and I'll tell you what, right here in Wheaton, there are candidates that claim to be Republican and absolutely will vote for all of the gender-affirming crap that you see in the Wheaton School District, for example, and yet they claim to hold the mantle of Republican. I'm not, local elections can get you into deep trouble with that. So local people should figure that out. Now, shamefully, absolutely shamefully, J.B. Pritzker weighed in on local elections with hundreds, not millions, sorry, but hundreds of thousands of dollars I heard 500,000. I also heard 800,000. We know it was hundreds of thousands of dollars he sent down through local party structures, and his Democrat Party actually put out mailers in some of these local races, hot spots where they wanted to win, where they saw that actually there were organized groups of parents that had come together now for 18 months, 2 years, and were trying to win back their school boards. They knew where those hotspots were, and they funneled mail into those hotspots. And shamefully, they should be absolutely admonished. And this is where the Republican Party should call them out and should call out the J.B. Pritzker. They denigrated really good American Illinois residents, people that are just common sense parents. They denigrated them, called them names. And I'm talking about people that in their regular life are police officers and they decide to run for school board. And J.B. Pritzker and his party called them extremist, right wingers, all sorts of nasty names. I mean, these people are the worst. And they've taken nonpartisan elections and fully made them partisan
Absolutely partisan.
confrontations.